right, hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. Give me a second here to check in on my signal, make sure everything's running clean, and we'll get started with some art. So hold on real fast while I check in on my channel here. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Here. Mic check, mic check. Yeah, sounds really good. All right, let's drop that volume down so it stays out of the way. I'm going to grab my link here and do some fast social media posts. I just got a couple clicks to do on the Sky, the X, the Discords, and then we'll be diving into about an hour and a half or so of artwork this morning. I do character illustrations and landscapes, environments, fantasy art in general. We're creating an adventure for the Eberron campaign setting using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024 rules. You can see the book cover here on screen called Crystals of Mabar. It's for 7th and 8th level characters. We're fighting necromancers, undead, and demons in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. Today we are depicting a party of NPC characters that are potential rivals or allies for the characters, for the players to encounter during the course of the adventure that can either help or hinder the team. And it looks like I've got my social media posts done, so I'm gonna fix my screen here. And if you think this stuff is cool, I would love to earn your support. Like, subscribe, bell icon. Here's a bunch of books I've created on the DMsGuild already. They all have free previews. Be welcome to check them out. We were working on Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, doing updates for that book for 2024 last night, and we're going to be doing that on Mondays and Thursday nights for the next month, and then we'll republish the book. So if you pick it up, you'll already own the new rules. We're just going through the process of updating them. So stick around for that ride if you're interested. And let's get this book cover out of the way. And okay, well, we're working on an archer today. I think we are in the process of, we were doing some cleanup and we were about to start working on smoothing out the details. When we do art, we get the bow out of the way. We'll keep the bow around, who cares? But we make the line art, and then we block in all of the, where did it go? There. Like we block in the individual elements, and inside of those elements, we block in the flat, and then the shadow, and then the highlights. And once we have all of those in effect, then we blend them all together so it's a single layer. And then now that we're at the point now where we're doing detail work. So we are sculpting down the silhouette and integrating the line art into the color by basically just blending. So we'll be hacking away at this for a little while. We'll probably finish this character. Well, I mean, we've got like an hour and a half. We'll finish this character, and then we'll move on to the last character. And once we get the heavy done, then we'll start a whole new illustration altogether. So we just we're moving through the document basically page by page. We're going through the book. Wherever there's gaps that we need to put artwork in, we put the time in to create the art, and here we are today. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on with what we're doing here. So I'm using some blending techniques here to kind of cover over her face, so I don't have to worry about details too much. These are very small illustrations. This is only 1 inch, so this is a 300 by 300 square at 300 DPI. That's a 1 inch resolution. 300 DPI means 300 pixels per inch. So this is a 1 inch illustration. So this is a token designed to fit on the square grid of a battle map. Using D&D rules, it's just a single medium-sized character, which is appropriate. It's human and female. So I'm going to take some of this highlight here and just drop that in here. Obviously, I can't have too much detail because of the resolution and the size of the image, but that's okay. We get the point across, right? There we go. Just get that hair lighter and fluffier. Give it some waft. I don't know, man. This gal gives me leader vibes. It doesn't. We don't specifically call out who's in charge, but I get the feeling that she is. Some of those like that. There we go, like that. Sculpt that around here just to match this sort of shape over here. Looking for a little. I got some throat clearing I'm doing. Sorry guys, all up in your ear here with the hagga. That looks good. I really like how she's turning out. These lines feel real clean. Which is antithetical to what I was talking about last time. I like to have a little bit of rough on my characters, just a little sketchy. It just feels a little bit more organic. But when it comes to faces and stuff, I like to smooth them out. I do like good smooth complexions and good smooth transitions. This is just, I'm just mostly using a smudge brush. Occasionally I'm using the actual paintbrush to drop in some additional color. But largely, it's just sculpting using a smudge tool. Let me just curve this in here so it's got a gentle wrist. I'm gonna conceal the bow for the time being. That COVID did a number on me, man. I'm still froggy in the throat. I have yet to recover a clear throat. It's obnoxious. I can still hear myself a little bit, but I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, that feels okay. There, like that. There. Good. Yeah, that hand's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's just keep moving down the body. No reason to overwork any particular part of the illustration. Let's get that little transition between shapes here. Smooth that out. There we go. That looks really good. Push that up in here like that. Create some shape in here for form. There we go. That is my 20-minute timer to help make sure I stay on track. Good morning, people. Yeah, it feels about right. Just keep working this in. We're using a smudge tool here mostly right now. We do a little spot of color now and again with a brush, and then we just blend it in so that the line art, the only lines that we want in the piece are structural, that help define the shape or the form of her body. For the most part, we're taking all the line art and we're just blending it in. I don't think I need a break there. I'm going to smooth that out here. There, that feels a little more natural. Let me blend this in here, this piece. Since we're looking up at her, it's going to be like it's mostly like a triangle. Her head here and her hips here, and then her arms in here. That's the general. I mean, that's an over exaggeration and simplification, but that's essentially what we're trying to do here. So, I want to be able to curve her hips in to sculpt her body to be slim and athletic, but I can't slim it in too much. Otherwise, it flattens it, and that's a little bit of an illusory trick you have to work with. So I'm just trying to be mindful of that illusion while I'm cleaning up the line art and blending it into the color. There, like that. That's pretty good. We're using like an 80% strength smudge brush, which means that for every 10 pixels that I click on when I tap down, when I tap and I drag, it grabs 8 out of the 10 pixels and pulls it along, and it'll drag it for the higher the higher the strength that I use, the further it'll drag the pixels along with it. So I can basically sculpt like almost like painting clay. I can sculpt the pixels, the color that's on the page, and push it into the position that I want. And this is a technique that I've been using for decades probably. For whatever reason, I've always really enjoyed smudging and like watercolor, like finger paint, like pushing the actual pixels around the page more so than like doing paint overs. But knowing when to smudge and when to paint over, that's part of my own evolution of my own art style. How to use the different techniques to create the looks that I want. Go down here like that. There, and then we'll smooth this out, blend that in. We probably won't be on her for much longer. I think she's looking pretty good. Love that. Let's get that in here. Blends down into her leg here. These little shapes in here help design. It's just basically overlapping lamellar, right? some of this color here, change up the highlight a little bit. There. Yeah, I think I like that. Hold on. Adjust my seat. Let's, here's the reference image that we used, and I feel like, here we go. There's a little blade in here. I can use that. She doesn't have a lot of metal showing, but did want a little bit of decoration there. That feels pretty good. I'm okay with, I know it's very monotone. I think I'm okay with that. Just because of the nature of the scout. I don't want a lot of flair. There we go. That feels pretty good. Get out of here, Scallywag. Thank you. Let's see. That seems to be sitting fine. I think I'm gonna add on another layer here because I think we need a little bit more sleeve in here. Help block down this armpit. There we go. There, that feels a little better. Let's merge that down. Cool. Okay, so that's looking, I'm pretty happy with how she herself looks. Let's just fix her face a little bit. That feels really, really good. I like that. I really like that. Okay, and now we have the bow to deal with. I'm pretty happy with her. So let's work on the bow. Make this better. Duplicate that group. Merge it down. Now it's a single layer I can cut through. I'm going to use a masking layer. There. it's a way to erase without actually erasing. See, I can just disable this and it comes back. So that's a way for me to, and then I separate the masking layer so that it's selective. There we go. Off center a bit. I can change the angle a little. Now we can go in here, we can start doing some, I'm going to duplicate that. No, I don't need to, because I've got the whole copy. So we're just gonna go, we're just gonna freewheel it. Let's hope for the best. So I'm gonna get the outline, and then I'm going to add in some support structure, make it a composite bow instead of just a single curve. Not a compound bow, not a compound bow, a composite bow. A composite bow is when you have multiple pieces basically stitched together or like fused together one way or another. It's multiple shapes. It's not just a single stick, you know. Currently it's like a single stick, but I want to add some mechanical complexity to it. A recurve bow is a modern day bow that has like pulleys and multiple lines on to create additional strength tension without necessarily having to, using the pulley system, not increase your actual physical strength. And that's a really complicated piece of machinery that I think is beyond the tech level that I want to express here. I gotta be mindful of the shape so that it sits, so it's elegant, you know, so it's not clumsy or clunky. Good. So I can thicken this part of the bow because this is where we're going to add the compound. I just first want to get the silhouette right and the blending good, so that I can, have symmetry above and below her hand. I have no idea how many archers I've painted over the course of my life. They're always fun and a little bit of a challenge, but they are my favorite type of characters. I don't play a lot of archers. My favorite in D&D, 5e specifically, in 5e, my favorite character is a divine soul sorcerer, the sorcerer that gets to pick spells from both the sorcerer list and the cleric spell list. By far my favorite characters. Very wide variety, and cleric spells on a sorcerer is just really, with the meta magic, it's really, really strong. Especially Guiding Bolt. What a fucking absolute Glock of a spell. I'm in a Curse of Strahd campaign, and of the 5 characters, 4 of us have Guiding Bolt. we just unload on enemies. It's so fun. We would not have survived probably half the fights that we have if we were not able to just dump mana into Glock and stuff. Like guiding bullets, it's 4d6. It's on average 13 radiant damage, and you get advantage on the next. Whoever makes the next attack gets advantage on it. So once we start spamming guiding bolts on something, we're all just giving each other advantage on the next attack, and if we hit, we give each other advantage again. So it just kind of cascades. As long as we can keep our distance and just keep dumping mana into the target, it dies. Super fun. But so we're playing Curse of Strahd. We're 6th level right now. 7th level right now. No, 6th. That's right. We haven't gotten to 7th yet. I'm eyeballing Arcane Eye as a spell to try to pick up if I can get it. There we go. That feels really good. Thicken that up a little bit here. Yeah, given the option in 5th edition, I will play a Divine Soul Sorcerer almost any time. In 3rd edition, my favorite class was the Sword Sage out of the Book of Nine Swords. Hey guys, good morning. Sword Sage was a late 3rd edition character type that it was like martial magic. The Book of Nine Swords was basically a mana system for martials to be able to use strikes, boosts, maneuvers, reactions, and it's the inspiration for the Martial Powers book that we've been playtesting on my Discord server that we will be publishing on DMsGuild, because I'm a mana junkie and I'm a Magic the Gathering enthusiast. So it's designed to use the color mana system that I developed for D&D, and since it's Magic the Gathering, if I'm going to publish a book, it has to publish on the DMsGuild. That is the only legal place for me to publish a for-profit book. But once that book is published, I can start putting material on my Discord, on my Discord and my Patreon. So I think in 2026. We'll finish up the revised color mana books for 5e24. And then I'll have the opportunity to actually start building specific subclasses and converting MTG cards into character classes or rather into subclasses for the various classes in D&D. And since we'll have a mechanical language for all 13, maybe 14 character classes, I can start. I'll be done with the mana conversion for the foreseeable future, and then start to actually build more toys with it. Like I led a project on creating Warlock patrons for the Ravnica campaign setting, where the 10 guilds of Ravnica, we recreated each of them to be a Warlock patron. So if you became a Warlock in Ravnica that way, you essentially were becoming what in Magic the Gathering they call a guild mage, where you were devoted to that specific guild, and in D&D 5e that's expressed as a Warlock. That it basically makes a pact with the guild, and that is where your mana is coming from. But it's such a niche product that it's not, it doesn't have large mass appeal. It's not going to be a big seller. It never has been. But it's a super cool proof of concept So instead of me trying to produce something and then mass market it from there, I want to begin taking all the different books that we've created and using those. Since they all have free previews, you can read all the rules, and then we can go to my Patreon and start building specific classes or subclasses or magic items or whatever that wouldn't ever sell on the DMsGuild, but it'd be a means for me to be able to build support for a Patreon channel instead. So it's a big transition, and I'm looking forward to it. Hey, that feels pretty good as a base frame for this bow. So it takes a while to get all the books built, obviously, and like we're doing playtesting and all the blah blah to get everything to work properly. But once it's done, then we can start riffing on it. And I think that's where a lot of the fun is going to be. So, God's willing, it'll all pace out. There. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a decent just flat bow. Obviously we're going to have a string that'll be able to pull through here. That's just going to be a faint line, and I don't have to worry about that until the very end. For now, let's see. Let's bring this in a bit there so it fits in our grip more proper. And now we're going to add on a layer. The compound aspect of this, the bounded material to help strengthen and reinforce this. Here, like that. There we go. Like that. There's that edge. I want to keep that intact. There we go, like that. Yeah, that feels really good. I like that. Let's grab here and color that in a bit. Here and here. Smooth that curve out. There we go. There, that feels pretty good. Soften that edge so it curves, so it's a little bit more, less flat, more curvy. There we go. That's good. Good. Okay, that feels really good. We can do that. Perfect. There we go. Happy with that. And now we can merge, preserve, and I can increase the size a little bit. Very good. And let's make another line here. I'm going to grab across like that. And free transform, and then I can skew it. And I want to distort. There. And I think she looks good. Let me drop the opacity on that a lot, so it's really, really, really faint, so it doesn't get in the way of her silhouette. That's there, but it's not imposing, you know? There we go. Okay, cool. So, oh, wait. Yeah. Nah, honestly, I think the feathers are fine. I think she's pretty good. So we're going to let that sit. So we've got our rogue, and we've got our tank, and we've got our sniper, and next we're going to work on our heavy. And this is going to be the exact same process that we just did for the other three, and we're on our last dude. So that's great news. We'll be done with. Yeah, I gotta adjust my seat. Give me a second here, guys. That feels pretty good, like that. There we go. How are we doing on time? It's only 7 o'clock. That's great. So we'll probably get the flats done with this guy, and we'll be probably at the same point as we were yesterday with the other one, which was get all the flats in, get the highlights in, get it ready, and then tomorrow we'll probably I'm sure we'll need that time to finish this character, and then those 4 will be done, and we'll move on to the next illustration. So. Taking a good swig of water to keep the whistle wet and keep the throat going. Let's see. Now I know I've got dwarf references going. I'm okay with that. Let's grab this as our base tone for his skin. Heavy. Nope. Here and here we're gonna go with ref, and we got our battle axe or hatchet. And then we've got our actual character. So I'm going to slide the hatchet aside. And so this will be axe. And this will be heavy. And then this is line. Color. So we're going to call this one the line. And color. Conceal the axe for now. We'll get back to that one. Let's get his grip in here. Like that. Yeah, that'll end up looking good. Yeah, that's going to look good. Okay, cool. But we're going to drop it back down here to be faint. And now we need to open up our toolbox so I can see my colors. Let's go back to our reference so we can grab our... So I don't see any color. So the way that I see color is by using the RGB slider in the upper right-hand corner there. This does all of my color vision for me. I'll find color references and illustrations and photos and stuff and use those for the color referencing as for me to fill in the work. Reference. We start with the skin, then hair, then undergarment, and then armor, and then gear. Which is pretty much the same process I follow for every character every time. It's just a slow layering effect of just adding things in. There we go. Other than his bare hands and around his neck and his head, he doesn't have any skin showing. Rest of it's all armored up, so not a lot of flesh I have to do on this one. So that's easy. Let's go back to our reference here and let's use this one instead. Grab a mid-tone. This guy's great. And let's swap that around. Let's look for this will do. So grab it. So we have dark, highlights, and then midtones. Here. It's the same process that we just used for the archer. Do that. Armpits, of course, you need that freedom of movement. It's also a weak spot in the armor, which is a natural weak spot. There, like that. That feels pretty good. Is that what we want, or... Let's go with this one. Yeah, I think that feels better. Looking for a decent mid-tone. Huh. Let's go back to here. No, that's too gray tone. I like the red that's coming off of this guy. I can tell over here in the RGB that it's got much more of a ruddy look to it, and I think that's what I want. There we go. Yeah, that's a good point there. Let's go with that. Yeah, I can tell these apart. That's good. That's my 20-minute timer, making sure I'm keeping track of my time. I've got a day job, so I do artwork like this in the morning to kind of relax and ease into my day and reward myself for being creative in the morning before I go into my day job. And then while I'm at my day job, I can focus on my day job and not pine away wishing I was painting, because I get to do all this stuff in the morning like this. So then at the end of the day, if I don't have any energy, I don't have to feel guilty about slacking and giving myself some open space because I already created artwork today. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate everybody that decides to poke on through. And this slow art style of like actually doing like all the work, it's on screen here. It's as a means for, like, being an artist is a lonely freaking job. Like, unless you're actively engaging in a community like this, you're pretty much just listening to music or podcasts or whatever's in your head. God willing, it's love, and you're not beating yourself up. But it's an intrinsically lonely job doing any kind of creation like this. So YouTube really allows me the opportunity just to kind of reach out and talk at people a little bit, and occasionally people will drop notes down below, and it's certainly welcome if you do. But if this is your first time to the channel, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to check this out. I stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings. I do game design on Mondays and Thursday nights. Last night we were designing mechanics for D&D for the Spelljammer campaign setting. And sometimes I'll do lunches on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays and Fridays. I don't know if I'm going to be in for lunch today. I suspect my schedule is going to be too busy for me to be able to tear away and to jump online and talk about stuff. If I can, I will, but I suspect I won't. So I don't want to make any promises I can't keep like that. But I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working. Well, we probably won't finish this character. I've got like 50 minutes, like 40 minutes left. I won't get this character done today, but obviously we can get a good portion of it taken care of and prepped for cleanup and for fully integrating everything together. So that means that tomorrow we'll get this character finished. And if that is the case, if everything runs according to plan, then we'll finish this character tomorrow and potentially begin on the next illustration. We're going to be doing a cemetery scene. Our rogue is going to be hiding from guards in a cemetery, and that'll be a lot of fun. It's I like the cemetery in this adventure a lot. It's basically a potential endless stream of undead for characters to fight if that's how you want to run your game. There's a lot of options, and we'll have an opportunity to talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, there we go. So he's blocked in, and let's grab our axe here. So let's find our color reference here real fast to grab our axe. We'll go with a mid-tone like that. Since I don't see any color, again, this is how I can paint. I'm just going to block it all in as the same color, and then we'll distinguish the axe head from the rest. I just want to get a silhouette here in place. The RGB slider up in the upper right-hand corner, that's my color vision. Yeah, this is all the color I get to see. I'm 100% colorblind. I have no cones in my eyes, so everything is black and white to me. And but it turns out the more I study art and really powerful artists, the more I hear them complain that their biggest issue is contrast, is being able to pick up differences in values of light and dark, and that's all I operate in. So for me, it's almost like it's a subtle gift. It's a very subtle gift that I get to. I'm always operating in a thing that like really good artists complain about, that it's difficult for them to forget about the color, so that they can actually just see the contrast in a piece that they're creating without being fooled by the color creating false dichotomy. And so since I don't have any of those illusions, I think it ironically gives me an edge. It gives me, well, it certainly gives me a unique perspective. But let's pull this in here. Let's grab that highlight there, and then that darker bit there. Oh, that's super red. Actually, let's go with this. That's all I need for the axe for now. Scratch that. Let's I like how flat I like how flat his handles are. That's super cool. There, and once we again like we did with the archer, we'll be able to block this. So we'll mask the layers around the hands so that the hands come through over the axe handle without having to destroy the axe handle, like without having to erase it. But this is our base. So the axe is fine as is. We're going to conceal that again for now. We're now going to go back in and look at our references and pick up colors. There, and then here. This is called flesh. And this is hair. And this is fabric. And this is armor. And then we'll add another layer for like details and whatever. So for now, we're working on flesh. So we're going to add in another layer for shadow, and then we'll have a separate layer for highlights. I'm going to push this highlight a little bit more here, like that. Shadow, very simple. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, so flesh is pretty good. I mean, there's not a lot of flesh showing on this character, so that's not a big issue. The hair. Go back to our references. We used this one for hair. So let's stick with that. And again, the hair is not a really big issue, so a little bit of a He-Man mullet. And then we'll highlight over the top. And we'll end up blending this and figure out what it looks like. But for now, we just want to get some highlights in place so we have the reference, and then we'll figure it out from there. Loving that. Loving that 70s vibe off of this guy. It just looks like he has a sort of Lou Ferrigno feeling to him, like the original Incredible Hulk from the 70s. Let's go back into our reference. And highlight here, and then shadow here. I got eyelash in my eye, I think. There we go. Highlight here, but a highlight here, dropping this in the shadow here, the shadow here. Drop shadow in here, obviously, because there's not a lot of light hitting this area. A little bit of highlight down in here, just to have that pop a little bit. Nope. There, like that. Really simple. I mean, it's there's not a lot of color complexity going on here, but that's okay. I think it'll all blend together and look okay when we're done. These are scouts. They're not supposed to be. They're not. You know, coming in with like flaming swords and shit. They're not crusaders. They're a little more subtle than that. That's their rule. I kind of like the idea of. Yeah, the more I look at that, the more I feel like that should be fabric. Yeah, that feels good. We'll do that. We're going to leave that like that. Actually, blend that in here like that. Just a little bit of blending. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but this is where I'm inspired to be right now. So that's why I learned to trust the muse. She knows what she wants to do, and I am just... I am at her whim. That is the deal. Yeah, so far so good. So what? There, and now let's get back to our reference here with the armor. Conceal that one because we want to borrow off of here. Then in there. There we go. Let's do the shadow first, and then we'll do our highlights. And then we'll assess where we're at, and we'll start blending things together. And drop that out of the way for the time being. Let's get that armor ridge here. Like that. And here. And down in here. There we go. There. lot of complexity. Very, very simple overall. Let's let's add in some shadow here for the form, because all the lighting on this is all the lighting is coming from the upper right hand corner. Oh. Shadow down in there. And a shock of light in here, here. A bit here. This one here. And across here. I think that's doing what I want it to do. I think I want to back down the brightness on that a little bit. Ground it a little bit more. It's a little bit too sharp. There. That feels pretty good. Okay, cool. So that's our basic. Let's add the axe back in. Chung. That's our basic lighting here. And yeah, what a brute. He's our heavy, so that's what we want. I can now, I believe, let's adjust the volume on the line art. I'm gonna put it probably like around here. I think that feels about right. Yeah, that feels good. So we can add all this together. Duplicate the group, merge it, and now it's a single layer. And we can begin cleanup, and we'll start blending, just like we did with the archer. We'll just start blending the artwork in, the line art into the color, so that it's more clean and has a little bit more defined form, and we should be good to go. So the first step is cleanup. So I'm just going to start working around the edges to get rid of all the little frayed bits that are hanging out, and start sculpting the actual shape of the character a little bit more defined. Thank you, Timely Timer. So I've got 20 minutes left today, so that's plenty of time for us to do cleanup and to actually start sculpting. We won't finish it today. We'll definitely have it finished tomorrow, and then we're going to start in on a scene, that cemetery, the hiding in the cemetery scene. So that's going to happen tomorrow. So for now, like I said, you're just cleaning up these edges here, get the silhouette form nice and clean. So I sure do appreciate y'all hanging out with me and checking out what we got going on. It's a real treat to be able to share artwork like this, and it's I've been doing fantasy illustrations for like 25 years. I mean, I started when I was 16, and I fell in love with D&D, and that really got me starting to think about materials, and then mapping, and then environments, and armor, and monsters, and items, and like role-playing games is like it's like you're building an entire world from your imagination. So like there's no shortage of content that needs to be depicted in your fantasy world, right? So as a teenager, it was a great escape mechanism for me to be able to have a place to blow off steam and stress from life and stuff. And role playing games was just something that allowed me to be part of a team and to make friends, and it was. A real lifesaver for me, honestly. But it got me on the path of wanting to illustrate, and I just kept at it. And then I started making my own books that I could illustrate. Instead of being hired to do illustrations for other people, I started making my own books so I could hire myself to do my own artwork. And it's I recognize the rarity of being a designer as well as an artist, so I can the things that I design for games I could illustrate the way that I wanted to show them to be specifically like what I wanted to depict. And just the better and better I get at artwork, the more accurately I can portray the ideas that are in my head. And it's great that YouTube exists that allows me to share the process and show what I go through. And well, honestly, I started one of the reasons I started is to demonstrate how much time it takes to actually do all this stuff. Like it is a, like they call it, they're calling it slow art now, where instead of doing like speed painting and then talking over a 15-minute video, but the actual illustration took like 80 hours to make instead. Like, let's actually grind out the 80 hours of making the illustration here, and people can tap in and hang out and pick up whatever information that they want at the time, and listen to the conversation, and dip whenever you feel welcome to do so. But I just appreciate being able to share this stuff. There's one thing to have a finished piece, but then there's also the whole production of it, right? Like what we're actually going through right now, like actually producing the piece. That is a time-consuming effort, and most of the time is like you might look at an image for like a minute, but it took whoever created that thing, it could have taken them 5 hours, 1 hour, 100 hours, who knows. The final piece is just one dimension of the actual production. So that's what I'm trying to get into here is sharing that long form process of like all the things that go into it. And it looks like that silhouette is looking pretty clean now. So there's some bits over here, some rogue bits hanging out in the wing. Just looking for little stragglers. And it looks like we're clean. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's a decent form. I'm gonna hit save real quick just to make sure we don't lose anything. I've got 15 minutes left, so I guess let's get started, right? So transitioning into now starting to do detail work. So using again our smudge brush, it's where I spend 90% of my time here using a smudge brush. Drop a little bit of color in there and then smudge it around. see. I want to keep that shadow in place for his eye. These are such minor characters. Like they don't even need to be in the adventure. If the DM doesn't need them, then they don't matter. There's various rival teams and opposing adventuring groups that are running around inside the adventure that the players can encounter if the DM deems it appropriate and beneficial to the story that you're telling, and increasing the challenges and stuff to be able to introduce these NPCs into the game as needed. So you if you were to run the adventure, you might not need these dudes at all, but they exist and they're part of the context of the adventure to just provide additional details and information. So if they are useful, you can equip them and add them into the adventure. Otherwise, they're just additional context and background information about different rival factions that are interested in what's happening in the Carnwood. I'm going to grab and wisp at this a little bit here. Do a little bit of layering over here. I don't have to kill myself on these things. Again, this is a 1-inch pixel, it's 300 by 300, and a 300 DPI means dots per inch. So it's 300 dots by 300 dots. This is a 1-inch token that we're essentially just creating here. Let's add the axe back in. See, when I have the axe in, it actually fills the space really nicely. I could make him a bit bigger, but it would start crowding the space, and I don't feel the need to do that. It's a minor NPC. This is occupying plenty enough space as just like a token on the battlefield if you were to have these as rivals or companions in combat. Got that feathery He-Man look going on with his hair. I love that. That sternocleidomastoid going on his neck. Good thick Adam's apple here. Drop all that in the shadow in here. There we go. Yeah, this guy's looking really cool. See? Looking pretty dope. Nah, we don't leave that dark. There we go. That feels good. Not so much. There we go. Good. Hands over here. Let's push this out here. Blend that in a little bit here. I'm just kind of moving around the body. Right now I'm just kind of working my way from the top down in the piece. Let's armor that up a bit here. Bring in this here. We're almost out of time for the day, but we're doing really good today. This is good. This is good progress. I'm really happy with where we're getting to. Let's oh, good point. Let's get that up. There. And we can bulk up this shoulder so it matches over here better. Like that. Some plates in like that. There we go. Here. There we go. Just about out of time this morning. Gotta go to my day job. Earn the loot. Yeah, I like how this is turning out. This is looking good. Like that ruddy sort of feeling to it. It's got that dingy grime on it that I think is appropriate for running around in necrotic forests. Dinginess seems on flavor. There we go, like that. Oof, man, my belly is screaming at me. It wants food. No, buddy, you gotta wait like another 5 hours before you get to eat. I'm gonna have to drink a lot of water to help quell that hunger. There. Got a little bit of a grr. That's really good. Oh yeah, we are so easily going to get this done tomorrow. I need to start meditating on the next piece. I can see it. I can see a little bit of it in my head. But we'll do this for the environment. I mean, it's the same process. So we'll do the line art, and then we'll block everything in, and then we'll do detail work. But it's an environmental piece, not just a character art that we'll be working on tomorrow. Once we finish this guy up, we'll start on the cemetery. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are finding this stuff fun and entertaining. I'd love to earn your subscription if you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers and build up some hours. Yeah, this is coming along. This is going to be good. Hey, it's 7:51. I've got just like a minute or two on the block. This feels like a good natural place for me to stop for the day, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes, hit save, and like I said, we're going to be back tomorrow morning. We do this for about an hour and a half or so every day, Monday through Friday in the mornings, on my Discord channel, which is in the description down below. We do play testing for the different D&D or other game systems. Like I'm doing a lot of D&D 5e right now, a lot of 2024 stuff. And so that's where all our playtesting is at. I run campaigns as a DM to basically set up scenarios and as a sort of loose narrative to frame a playtest inside of as a loose story, to have an excuse for throwing damage around and shit. And then we do game design on Mondays and Thursday nights. And this was barking at me. I wanted to come in here and pick at that for a second. And we build things here on stream, and when they're done, we publish them on the DMsGuild. I got a bunch of books that are linked down below that are already on the DMsGuild that are full of my art. They all have 100% free previews, so you can, even if you're not a big D&D enthusiast, but you like my art, you can download the book to look at the cover and all the interior artwork and the layout and design work that I did. And you're welcome to jump into my Discord channel and ask questions. And if you're interested in using some of this content, I love providing support and offering suggestions on how you can take your ideas and use some of the mechanics and ideas that I have in my books to be able to make your world better. And yeah, so this is where we're at for the day. I'm going to go ahead and shut up now and drop off stream. So God bless all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hopefully over the next, hopefully you see my channel again, and over the next weeks, months, or years, I earn your subscription, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I need to have 4,000 hours of consumed content for me to have like a real channel, for me to gain full affiliation and all that stuff. So, personal dreams. It's, support if you want. But God bless you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers. Thanks a lot.